Hello, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Julie.
So now we're going to do a review of My Little Scythe. Hopefully you've had a chance to watch her how to play and play through. So this is a game we bought recently. It's been out for a while, but we like games with really nice components. So let's take a look at the back of the box for context. As I've said before, the back of the box is well done. Then it's easy for a retailer, for instance, or for somebody picking it up to see what it's about.
Right.
So you have miniatures that represent your seekers, and you have bases here on the edge. There's a base here and here and here, and this is a 3-player game shown. And what you're going to do is you're going to go out with your seekers to pick up apples and gems and complete other tasks so that you can complete goals. The first player to complete 4 goals usually wins, but there are some tie-breaking things where multiple players complete 4 goals. And so it's really simple actions. You can move, you can seek where you generate more resources like apples and gems, or you can make things like pies. So there's a little bit of player conflict here where you have pies. You can get into a pie fight. But it also encourages friendship. There's a friendship track here because if you do things that are really jerky, for lack of a better word, you can lose friendship. And if you are below 4 friendship, you can't complete goals. So yes, you can be mean for a little bit, but then you got to be friendly again if you want to complete goals. And so when we played, we didn't bother each other at all.
No.
And so there's also well, anyways, you just watch the playthrough and you can see the rest.
We did have a pie fight, I believe.
No, we did not have a pie fight on camera.
Oh, we didn't? Oh, okay.
No, maybe when we played it on
our own.
On our own.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take a look at our review here. We come up with our reasons separately. So we're first going to start with
Me.
Julie's review. So
Okay.
let's get that going here. All right.
All right. Okay. As David said, the components are awesome. I love how chunky feeling the little creatures are, and they're so cute. And I loved them. I just thought they were really, really fun. Yeah, he's showing them right there how cute they are.
Yeah, you can look right there while I show others.
The other thing is, I thought this was a really fun family game. It's very easy to play. It can get a bit overwhelming though, because you're trying to figure out, okay, do I do this, or this? And for someone who's young, it might be hard for them to figure out what's the best thing to do for them. Personally, for me, I just at one point it was just kind of like, it's getting a little too long. That's my last thing. I'm neutral about it because some people like really long games and some people don't. I'm one that is not a big fan of long games. I get tired pretty quickly, and especially if I'm having to really think hard and have to. What would you say, babe?
Well, if there's a lot of choices
to
make, and you're thinking there, and then as the game goes on longer for you, it wears you out.
It does, and if you watch some of our playthroughs, you can see on some of them, I start out really, really strong, and if it's gone after more than say even 40 minutes, you'll see me slowly start to go down. That's kind of how this game is. It's adorable. I think it's a great family game. Just be prepared that if you're playing with young people,
that's a good point.
They are going to get tired really quick, and so you might have to, play a shorter version of it, or you can do what David does with me a lot. Is we play until I get to the point where I'm just getting almost cranky, and we stop where we're at, and then we pick up the next night, and then we finish it. And it works out just fine. So that might be something you might want to do if you're playing with little people.
Yeah, because it does say that it's 45 to 60 minutes. So that is accurate unless you're really fast.
And that's 2 people. It took us, 45 minutes or so? An hour?
No, it took us longer because I did the how to play. But
it was
45. It was 45 minutes. I think you could do it in 30 minutes if you get really fast at the game, but early on it will be longer as you learn the game.
Yep.
And I think as you add more players, it will of course be longer.
Yes, yeah.
There's one thing I encourage in my book that I did, 11 years ago, Game Design in the Classroom, which I've used for my university courses I've taught, is that you can modify a game to make it shorter or longer. So instead of doing 4 goals, You know, you can make
You
it.
could do 2.
You can do 3 goals. I think 3 goals would make it shorter.
Yeah.
So that's one way. If you want to play a shorter game, just modify the victory conditions, or you can give players more things to start out with. You know, more apples or more gems, and then put them more on the board, so that that can make it go quicker. But you still play 4 goals.
True.
So there's ways to modify things to make it quicker. So what you're saying does relate to my review.
Oh, and I didn't even know.
So let's take a look. I had a lot to say
Wow, you have a lot to say.
because I haven't looked at this. We make these slides ahead of time, and we've had this ready for a week, and I haven't looked at it in a week. All right, so quality components, hands down. Stonemaier Games did a great job with this.
Gosh,
So it is a value when you buy this. Yes, hobby games, as you know, is priced more than mass market games, but you get what you pay for.
Definitely.
I mean, Horrified might be a $30 game.
But you get really good components in that.
Horrified not as good as this.
True.
Okay.
This is like awesome.
Yeah, so this is, if the miniatures were painted, it would be A+.
Yeah.
Okay. This is an A level components.
I agree.
And it will hold up over time with young people, and young people will enjoy looking at the game, and I mean, it's like the feel,
That's what I love is the feel of it.
the tactile
Yep.
of it.
Our
would be
future
great.
grandchildren will love it.
Yes. So it's just the right amount of optional conflict. And that's important to remember. You don't have to be mean to each other. When you pick up a quest card, you have one level where you can do something that you help yourself. You have another level where you could do something mean, but then you lose friendship. And then, of course, you can do pie fights. But we didn't even pick any of those.
We always did nice things. We weren't
Right.
mean.
So I think it could come more into play if it's like Julie's about to win or I'm about to win. You might do some of that stuff.
I don't know. I'm just not a big conflict. I'm
Or
not
if you play
a
with
take
more
that
players,
person.
or if you play with more players, maybe that would come into play. But even then, it's
Maybe.
optional.
I don't know. Yeah.
So it's a recommended family game for game literate families.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
That means that if you are, our boys could have handled this
Okay.
because they started playing Star Wars miniatures when they were 5 and 7, and other games.
Okay.
They were playing Magic the Gathering when they were 9 and 7. Okay, so they were very literate in games. Now, I've mentioned this before in other videos. You can tell if a child, especially in the classroom, has had much experience with games, how they hold cards and if they know how to roll dice.
Oh, that's right.
So if you have a child that doesn't know how to do those things, that hasn't played many games, I do not recommend this. This is a game whose parents play a lot of games. They probably have a collection of 50 or more games.
Yeah.
Okay, they've played Ticket to Ride, they've played Carcassonne, they've played Catan, they've played
The big ones.
The big ones,
Yeah.
and their kids can sit through that.
That's a good point.
You don't have to play Catan, but if they can sit through a Ticket to Ride, then they can sit through this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
This would be more fun because you get little characters.
yeah, so that's why I mentioned that there. Yes, it's on the BGG top family games list.
Oh.
I think it's at this time it's within the top 150.
Is
something
it?
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you're a family that all you've played is Trouble and Sorry
Monopoly.
or Monopoly, well, Monopoly's a long game. If they can handle Monopoly, they can handle this. Okay, in terms of the length.
The length.
But the complexity.
Right.
There's a lot going on here.
True.
That you got to be able to pick different actions and remember how they work, and then a parent has to be to read the rule book. It's fine. The rule book it needs more examples, but a parent who picks this up and have only played the more simpler games may struggle with this a little bit. Again, that's why I do recommend it's really appropriate for game literate families. For families that are new to the hobby, they might
much.
struggle.
Yeah.
Unless they have someone like us that shows them how to play.
Right.
Okay. So like our boys, when they have children someday, they'll have no problem teaching their children.
No.
Because they've played hundreds of games throughout their whole life.
Or they'll have Grandpa David teach them how.
That's right. All right, so it may be overwhelming to learn, play, and teach, as I've already mentioned. And that would be, again, that for families who are not used to these types of games. For instance, if they played Castle Panic,
Oh.
they would be able to handle this, for instance.
Sure.
Okay, things like that. All right, so there's some fiddly rules. So there are some things that are in here that you would expect from somebody who's made more complicated games. And it's just little things that you won't remember unless you're paying close attention. Okay? Like, for instance, we played it wrong where when you give a quest on a space, when you make and you place apples, gems, and quests, well, just a little fiddly rule that when you put a quest down in the space, you do not get a friendship token. It's like, is that really that important to have that exception? I'm sure it's play tested that way, but somebody likely won't remember that.
Yeah.
And there's other little things you got to remember that make it more of a gamer game. Whereas something, when you keep it cut and dry and simple, which was something that we played that was like that.
I don't know. We played a ton of games.
Oh, summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
Summer camp doesn't really have that much fiddly rules. It's very cut and dry.
True.
You do this, there's hardly any exceptions.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So that's an example of a game that's not really fiddly, that's accessible. Okay, but again, that game's also for families that can handle the evergreen games. So the rule book needs more examples. That's the only criticism I have of the rule book. If you're a gamer, you have no problem getting through this. But if you're not someone who's played these types of games, you will struggle wondering, how does that work again? So it definitely needed more examples. So if I show you here, you'll see there's lots of text. Okay, not many examples. In fact, the text needs to be bigger.
Yeah, it is really small. I need to have my glasses on. I can't.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those psychological things that publishers tend to do. They tend to think, when the reader picks up a thin rule book, they're going to think it's easier to play. Well, they already bought it. All right. There's a publisher I was hired for consulting that we got to keep our rule books under 20 pages. It was arbitrary.
Oh.
Okay, and then that the owner eventually came to the conclusion, well, we should just basically make it as comprehensible as possible, not worry if it goes to 24 pages.
Exactly.
Again, this is a war game company, okay, that we're thinking that way. Anyway, so yeah, the print is a little small. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't pass my rulebook evaluation, the performance list for my dissertation. But again, but yeah, it needed more examples. That's the only thing that prevents this from being like super accessible.
Yeah.
Where it's pleasurable, I think it would fall into the lower pleasurable category for gamers. But for somebody who's not used to this, it would probably be in the annoying category. They probably would have to watch a video. Because there's some things in here that are not as transparent that would, if they'd probably have to go to a how to play video.
All right. Well,
So
lucky for them, we did one.
Right. So it's a minor thing, okay?
Yes.
So let's take a look at our rating, and this is based on the BGG 1 through 10, and we come up with our ratings ahead of time, so Julie doesn't know what my rating is going to be. So let's take a look.
What did we do?
Okay. So notice I have an asterisk for my rating.
Yeah.
I said 6.5 for adults.
Ah.
Okay? But we're not the target audience.
No.
This is for families. This is for children.
Well,
You're
we
gonna
have
play with your
family.
children.
We have children. They're just adult men.
Right.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't be for this. They'd be like, yeah, that's kind of cool, Dad.
But no thanks.
But when they have grandchildren,
when we have children and we have grandchildren.
yeah, then they'll be. This is what it's made for.
Definitely.
Now we would play this because if we just want to play something cute and not to take that, we'd do that.
No, but again, I put 6. I want to be in the mood to play it.
Right.
I wouldn't probably suggest it. I'd probably suggest something else over this, but.
Right, and for me, there's enough complexity here to make me almost to the 7 where I would recommend it. I think this would be like, hey, if somebody comes over and we want to show them a really cute game, or if we're in a mood we want to play something like this.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to stay in our collection.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
But it would go to an 8 if our children were little again, and especially with grandchildren. This would be a great game to have. So if you are an older gamer.
With no children.
Well, let me finish. You can finish your. Well, go ahead. You finish what you're going to say.
If you're older gamer couple, and you do not have children or grandchildren, I wouldn't suggest getting this. But if you do have young children or grandchildren or young nieces and nephews, totally get this game because it's such a good kid game. It's so cute.
That's what I was going to say. If you are an older gamer with children or you have grandchildren, and you want to introduce young people to slightly more complex gaming. They're not ready for the more this is perfect. This would be a game to get them excited before they play more complicated games. So if you know about Vygotsky's zone of proximal development, this would be when you're ready for kids to graduate from the mass market games to something that's a little bit more complex. You start here, and then you can take them to the next level after this, where they're playing even more complex games.
Okay.
Yeah, so our boys started out with a lot of simple games before they did more complicated stuff.
And that came pretty fast.
Well, yeah, when you have hundreds of games coming in and you're doing reviews for a magazine, it's really easy why they were able to remember how many games we were playing when I was doing those reviews.
It got to be a little too much. I'm not going to lie. I got gamed out. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, but it was fun though.
It was fun.
And the boys benefited. We'll do
They
videos
did.
on that eventually, because their math skills, their mental math,
out of this world.
they have no problem.
Yeah, they're really. Yeah.
And it's helped them on their jobs as adults.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't go into STEM or STEAM, well,
STEM.
they did go into STEAM because art. They are musicians, but
That's true.
the STEM, they didn't go into STEM careers.
No.
But it's not because they didn't have the the
They
mental
just chose not
capacity.
to do
They
that.
just didn't like doing it.
No.
Well, that was a little tangent there. But playing games like this, yeah. Let's see, would I use this in the classroom? Let me think about that. I would use for gifted and talented, for sure, in small groups. I would not use in the total class. For clubs, yes. Now, what would be the context? What lesson would I do? I guess if I wanted to do economics, where you're basically doing resources to build things,
Okay.
or if it would be a hard thing to connect, but you could do it for that.
You're the teacher. I don't know.
Yeah, it would be a hard thing to connect to standards,
Okay.
but you could if you had to. But if it's for enrichment, no problem. Enrichment is up there for sure.
Nice.
All right, so this is a little Scythe, and please check out the how to play and playthrough video.
And if you really like this and you like us, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video and any other video you like. And we hope to see you again next time.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.